First, thanks for taking this time for the interview. And I
Yeah,
have
thank
a
you for having
few
us.
questions for you. First of all, how are you feeling about your concert in Mexico City and Guadalajara?
Yeah, we're super excited. We play Monterrey tonight, and then we have Guadalajara, and then on Sunday we play Mexico City. So we're super excited. This is our first time in Mexico, so we are don't really know what to expect, but we've heard great things about fans from Mexico and stuff like that. So we're super excited. Yeah.
Nice. And about the Foro Indie Rocks in Mexico City, this Foro is a pretty legendary venue in this country. It may seem small, but it's incredible, and especially for established bands have played there. At that point, do you feel like an established band, or what point in your career do you think you are? Because you have been playing for 10 years.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of an arbitrary question. I think that we're established, but we're constantly working on trying to grow the band, and we work nonstop on writing new songs and working on music videos and touring. The goal is to continue to grow and get our music in front of as many people as possible. But yeah, I would consider us an established band, but I wouldn't consider us a massive band.
Incredible. Now let's talk a little about the new album, New Addiction. It's very interesting, mainly because of all the sounds and genres and instruments and melodies involved. So, what it's like for you to plan the personality of an album, or do you not plan and each song is more like a hunch?
Yeah, so we kind of knew as far as the sound of the record that we had a specific vibe in mind that we were trying to kind of encapsulate. We had kind of been working towards this sound for a while, and on this record it kind of felt like we really got there. We really made the record that we wanted to make. So that was a really great feeling. And then as far as lyrically, yeah, I mean, we kind of were writing about things that were going on in our lives, and you can't really control what you want to and don't want to write about. It's like, we write as a form of venting out our problems and issues and communicating what we feel. And so that kind of that part of it kind of came together based on the situation that we were in. It was not a fun time for us at that at that specific point. It was a really hard time for the band, and so we wrote songs about what we were going through, and it seems like people were really able to connect to that. People that are also going through some hard times are able to listen to our record and see themselves in it and connect to it. You know that they're not alone.
Yeah. Incredible. And speaking of the personality of an album, I read in another interview that you said your hometown was very important for your band's sound. So, what part of Florida would you say you put music to for this album?
So we're from right around Fort Lauderdale, but the scene when we were coming up, we were playing a lot in Miami. We also played a lot in West Palm Beach, and uh, in Florida. And for us, the scene there was very punk. It was very hardcore. And so that was kind of influential on us in the early stages of the band. We had back then we kind of had a much more punky live show. Now I think it's kind of grown into a little bit more of post-hardcore, alternative, active. It's a little bit. We're definitely a different band now than we were then, but it definitely sent us down the rock path. I think Miami has a lot of history in rock. We were playing venues, that Marilyn Manson used to play, uh, and stuff like that. So it was very, yeah, it was certainly influential in the early parts of the band.
Nice. And despite those influences, the band sounds very original, very the hunt. So, what is difficult for you to find that place to find your own sound?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you work towards slowly, I think. I mean, to just create kind of a new niche of sound out of nowhere is a little bit difficult, but I do think that even in our early records, it still didn't really sound like a lot of the music that was coming out at the time. And even though we have grown and evolved and changed as a band from our first record, this and this is who the band that we've always kind of really wanted to be. Um, we've always kind of tried to make our music in a way that was just very natural to us. And so instead of trying to fit in with what other bands were doing at the time, we were kind of just doing what felt right to us. And I think that always kind of made us stand out a little bit from the crowd.
Nice. And now tell me about the lyrics on the album, because songs like New Addiction and Bad Omen especially seem so incredible to me. Very violent and at the same time so beautiful. I don't know, and I feel strange things. So what are the lyrics on the album about? And above all, especially for Anastasia, you're practically into rock and write since 9 years. Uh, so how do you feel about the lyrics or your lyrics in this album?
Yeah, I feel like they were very true to what we were going through at the time. So they were very raw, I think a little more than our lyrics in the past. We always try to write as true to what's going on in our actual true to what's going on in our actual lives. But I think this is the first album that we've done that like completely with no filter. So I think that's why it's connecting with people so well.
Nice. And finally, what what is like for you to release an album in these times when music is heard differently? There are so many singles releases. It even seems like people don't want to listen to full albums anymore. Do you perceive it that way?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some of that. And so we kind of, we've always released our albums the same way, which was the majority of the album is released as singles before we put the full album out.
But I think albums are so important, and also like with it being out, I think it's so important to listen to it in that order and all together. Like whenever, at least my favorite band's an album comes out, and for the both of us, we listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, we listen to it straight through the way it's supposed to be listened to, at least just the first time, so that you can consume the record the way that it was meant to be
So even
listened
though we
to.
are living in such like a single heavy time, we really love
Yeah, we still value the album, and
albums.
that's why we press the vinyl and CDs, and we still want people to listen to it in the real order that it's supposed to be. But again, like that it is a little bit of the era that we're living in now. So we did kind of the best of both worlds, which was release as many of them as singles, then compile it into an album at the end.
Yeah, leave a little surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And um, at the same time, it's a world where vinyl sales have grown. So this question is a bit outside your music, but how do you listen to your music today? So you being part of the new generation, so how do you
How do we
listen to
listen to our
music
music?
today?
Or music in general.
Music in general,
How do we listen like on where?
on web or in CD or in
Yeah,
vinyl.
platform. Yeah, so I mean, I have a large vinyl collection and we do listen to vinyl. And I think it's important to have physical music that is not like just on a streaming service because, someone could just decide that that service doesn't exist one day and then all the music is gone. So I do think that physical copies of media are like really important. But on a day to day, most of the time when we're listening to music in the car, this or that, we are streaming it. We generally use Spotify. But other streaming platforms are amazing too, Apple Music and YouTube as well, Amazon.